The appearance of corruption by President Trump is so stark that even conservative media outlets are sounding the alarm. This week, two newspapers owned by Rupert Murdoch, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, they blasted the president and his family for profiting off the presidency right before your very eyes. This comes after Trump's mandatory financial report showed he raked in a total of $2.2 billion in revenue in 2025. Your president, our president, made $2.2 billion in revenue last year while president, with $1.4 billion of that income coming from cryptocurrency investments. New reporting from MS Now's Akela Gardner only deepens those conflict of interest concerns. She writes, quote, since their father won a second term, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, President Donald Trump's two eldest sons, neither of whom hold official roles in the administration, have become linked to investments in at least 10 companies with military applications. Those firms have collectively received about $3.7 billion in federal funds since the start of the second Trump administration, according to an MS Now review of public records. Over the equivalent time span at the end of the Biden administration, those same companies took in nearly $2.8 billion in federal contracts. Joining us now is the author of that piece, MS Now White House reporter Akela Gardner. Akela, thank you so much for coming. We know you are going to be at the White House all day today in that heat, so this is our gift to you. When you were doing this reporting, what struck you as the thing that if there is an American voter at home, a person who lives in this country watching this show, you're like, this is the thing to understand about this?
The major takeaway is that President Trump is directing the government to modernize America's military arsenal. His sons are directly profiting off of those policies. 3 of these companies have seen record levels of funding. Some of them are startups that have never seen funding before from the government. And in some cases, Eric and Don Jr. are somewhat of brand ambassadors for these companies. Eric Trump was on Fox News, or Fox Business, I should say, announcing $24 million in government contracts for a company that he serves as an advisor for. Don Jr. is also an advisor for a company known as Unusual Machines, and their CEO, in an interview with Forbes, once compared him to Oprah Winfrey and her role with Weight Watchers. So they are both advocating for these companies and at the same time advocating for their father's America First agenda.
And just to go a little bit deeper into what you were referencing, the companies that the president's sons are invested in, I want to read a graph from your reporting. Financial disclosures show that in March 2026, the president invested between $247,000 and $630,000 in Palantir, the data and tech firm led by major Trump donor Alex Karp, and which Peter Thiel founded and chairs, though he also sold 1.1 million of the stock. In April 2026, the president touted Palantir's stock on Truth Social. Palantir Technologies has proven to have great warfighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies. So it's not just his sons. It's Trump as well, or at least the person who is managing Trump's stock account, and then somehow, I don't know, the president also simultaneously posting about it on Truth Social. But the takeaway that Trump had at the beginning of this year to explain why he's doing this is still like a crazy answer. He told the New York Times in January, asked about mixing business and politics. I found out that nobody cared. What is this true? And why does nobody care?
I don't believe that nobody cares. I do think that voters care, and I think particularly because Americans don't feel good about their economic situation.
I think he means nobody with power cares. Nobody that can do anything about it cares.
But one thing that's important to say is President Trump and his sons, going back to comments from 2018, they complained that they didn't get, quote, enough credit in the first term for putting some of these self-imposed restrictions. They have basically taken off those restrictions. There's no restrictions that I can see in terms of what they're investing in. They're investing in numerous companies, not just defense companies that have government interests. And they feel as though they left money on the table. And they feel this time around that they're not going to do that.
They left money on the table. So now they're like,
get it all
we can get. I want to play some sound from Alex Tabbitt, our colleague, who asked people what did they think about the president raking in all this cash. Listen to what they had to say.
Somebody's making money on the side. It's not me. I don't think one person should have that kind of power to make that kind of money, especially when he's in public office.
Did he come to me and my expectations? Absolutely not.
Where did he fall short of your expectations?
He definitely made lots of promises, and he made them seem like they were going to come a lot quicker, faster than they actually were to ever come or ever will come.
Just wanted the voice of the American people put out there so they can hear what they think. But go ahead, Jackie. We're completely out of time.
Alex Tabet is great. And I also just want to
Real
say,
fast.
right now, the average employee in the federal government has more restrictions under the law for their financial gain and those of their family and their friends than the president or the vice president.